morning, Max. Oh, yeah. Good morning, sweeties. You don't seem like your usual sparkling self today. I'm always like this before I go in front of an audience. I'm working up to it. Don't get nervous, Maxie. Here, have a glass of milk. Regina? How fabulous! My sweetie pie princess. Come to watch my performance today? Of course I did. Mo told me that I should come and watch this. Mo said that? So, what kind of performance will you put on today? Let me guess, you'll fly at the end? It's not that kind of show, isn't that right, my sweeties? Huh? I think my sweetie pie princess doesn't. Yeah, she doesn't seem to realize what's going on. Or even where she is. Oh, Max, it looks like it's time to raise the curtain! I see you later today. I'm just a member of the audience. Fabulous. Enjoy yourself out there. Good luck, Max. You're the best. Tina's different, don't you think, Nick? Top the morning to ya! Everybody, let's get ready to get stuck in legal limbo. How low can you go? Mo? Top the morning to ya, governor. Top of the morning? That's the ticket. Attacking the day starts with energy in the morning. The only bird gets the worm. But then again, worms that kind of brain function. Ha 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 ha! Here, Max, I brought you a present. Have some milk. Oh my, thanks. So how are you today, Wright? Well, I got the feeling that today I'm going to face off against the real culprit. You mean Aquo? Huh? You think he did it? Be careful. He's used to putting his life on the line. Literally. He's got guts to spare. If all I've got to worry about is how thin the tightrope is, I'm used to it already. It just means that I won't be able to press him like I can other witnesses. What are you going to do then, Nick? I guess today we'll just have to do without our usual psychological warfare. Today we got to rely on evidence. It's the only way we'll get past Aqua into the truth. You're right. It's gonna be tough. Anyways, I want you to make sure that Regina sees it all today. It's important. Then she'll finally have to deal with the reality of what happened to her father. You want us to make sure Regina watches? Yes. That's why I brought her to court today. What's that supposed to mean? She needs to know that when people die, they don't just become stars. I may be old-fashioned clown, but I don't believe in people becoming stars. Court is now in session for the trial of Maximilian Galactica. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. The defense is ready, Your Honor. Very well. Miss Van Karma, you may proceed with your case. The prosecution would like to revise its previous theory of events. What's the meaning of this? We have discovered a new witness, or shall I say, a new eyewitness. One that saw Maximilian Galactica fly off from the scene of the crime. Order! I had a feeling something like this would come up. Due to this revision, we are now prepared to explain how the defendant flew that night. The explanation the prosecution will present if the need so arises. In fact, my detective stayed up all night creating a mock-up of the scene on my orders. Poor Gumshoe. Very well. Please call your witness to the stand. Time to get to work. Or shall I say, time to walk the courtroom tightrope. Name and occupation. Ken Dingling, but everyone calls me Aqua. I'm employed as an acrobat at the very big circus. Where were you the night of the crime? I was in my room that night. If you look at the map, you see the witness's room is near the crime scene. My room was on the 3rd floor. The crime scene was below my window. At the crime, the witness saw something quite shocking. Would you tell us what you witnessed? Okay. It was just after 10 p.m. I was resting in my bed. At that time, I heard a loud thump noise from outside the window. Then a few minutes later, I saw someone flying right by my window. It was Max Galactica. I only saw him from behind, but that's who it looked like. To be honest, when I saw that, I thought I was dreaming. This witness's testimony matches up exactly with that of the clown. If that's the case, there was very little the prosecution needed to add. All that's left is to explain how the defendant disappeared into the sky that night.
Hold it!
Before we get that far, I'd like to cross-examine the witness. A foolish choice by a foolish fool who wishes to feel the foolish sadness of a sad fool. A man must know the proper timing for things, Mr. Phoenix Wright. Just like your old friend, Mr. Miles Edgeworth did. Mr. Wright, you have a problem with the witness's testimony? In the words of Miss Von Karma, may I quote yesterday's proceedings? There's no way that actually happened! Very well. We may proceed with your cross-examination. The light in your room was turned off then, right? That's true. I was going to bed after all. So if the light's off, you were still able to clearly see a human fly by your window? The safety light lit things up enough for me to see. But honestly, there was only enough light for me to see the silhouette outside my window. There was the person's back, so I couldn't see the white roses on the front. Did you see any of the other symbols? I clearly saw the silk hat, as well as the cloak wrapped around his body. I'm convinced that the person I saw was Max Galactica. More impressive, the less results I seem to get. Maybe there was something fishy with his latest bit of testimony. There was a huge contradiction with the testimony that was just given.
Objection!
If there's a contradiction, then prove it with evidence. She's right. Let's see some evidence. Do you have any evidence to support your claim of a contradiction?
Take that!
You came to have seen the exact same thing Mo saw that night. Do you stand by that? What do you mean? The silk hat? What about the silk hat? I saw on Max's head as he flew by my window. Well, you should have tried looking down out of your own window that night. That would have been quite difficult considering the state that I'm in. Just looking outside the window was a tough enough challenge for me. That's a shame, because you would have noticed the silk hat found on the scene. That's the Wingmaster's hat, right? Why not? No matter how you look at it, this is Milk's silk hat. Where are you going with this, Mr. White? Are you saying that Max has 2 silk hats? No, this is a handmade, one-of-a-kind model made only for Maximilian Galactica. Which means, Aqua, that you've been fibbing on the stand! Order! Order!
Objection!
As always, it looks like someone just had to open their mouth before thinking. Are you okay, Nick? Well, I opened my big mouth, and now I have to back it up. How about it, Mr. White? What would cause this witness to commit perjury in this court today? Your Honor. On this occasion, the defense accuses Aqua himself! On this occasion... accuses Aqua? What are you accusing him of? Obviously, we accuse him of the murder of Mr. Russell Berry. Mr. White, are you serious? Deadly serious, Your Honor. I think you shrimps and suckers have served you well. You seem to have learned how to try and grab our audience's hearts and minds. Your Honor, don't allow yourself to be swayed by theatrics. Trying to rob the crowd with smoke and mirrors is the oldest bluff in the book. Really? You don't believe me? Just look at the witness. He's calm enough for it to almost be scary. He's saying rather calm and collected. Mr. Greenway, do you have any response to the defense's accusations? I don't really need to say a thing, do I? What do you mean? Everyone, take a good look at me. I can't even stand that by myself, but I don't need the lodging house. That's true. I understand that Mr. Rice is trying to help his clients. Do this by accusing me of a murder of all things. See? Even a silver of common sense makes it clear that accusation is ludicrous. Right, let's pick up the statement you hot in the school, man. Phoenix is a creepy head. See that, Mr. Phoenix, right? If you're trying to drum up support from the peanut gallery, that's how you do it. I think that's enough of this little game. I've got a doctor's note to prove that Aqua is able to stand under his own power. The defense is planning on making claims to counter this as well. I can hear the defense now. Aqua had an accomplice. What do you say about this, Mr. Wright? Did Aqua have an accomplice? Now then, this must be when we get to hear the name of the mystery accomplice. Not this time, Von Karma. What? You're not going to suckle me into this one. What are you blabbing about, Mr. White? Wow, that's not being biased at all. There was no accomplice. Aqua planned to commit this murder all by himself. Order, order. What are you getting at? We have to keep them on their no toes, Nick. I'm going to have to prove how it all fits together. I have to show how Aqua modeled Russell Berry. Can you do it, Nick? Can you really do that? I know what I can't do. I can't stop now. If I stop attacking, I'm doomed. Alright, then let's do it. Mr. Phoenix Wright. This witness is the killer, then his eyewitness account is all lies, right? Mr. Wright, I would like you to clear something up for me. When the crime was committed, exactly where was Mr. Dingling?
Take that!
He was obviously here the entire time. That's Aqua's room. Pretty simple, huh? Aqua wasn't able to leave the logic house by himself. In that case, there could only be one correct answer. Aqua didn't leave his room to kill the Wingmaster. What? Are you nuts? What say you, Mr. Dingling? It's an interesting theory. That's it? Considering that you propose is impossible, yes, that's it. Mr. Wright? Yes, Your Honor? As the witness has stated, your assertion is impossible. As he's in a wheelchair, there's no way he could go to the scene or be the killer. You got a point. It seems you've forgotten once again, Mr. Phoenix Wright. The defendant was clearly spotted at the scene of the crime. That's true. Rose said that he saw Max, didn't he? But Maya, it's impossible for humans to fly. Do you mind if I ask a question, Mr. Wright? What is it? I understand some of your logic. However, how do you think that I killed him? If I can't leave my room, I obviously couldn't wear Max's costume. How did he do it? That's the next course of this legal buffet. Be careful, Nick. If you mess up here... This is right. I can't mess up here. I gotta give this one some serious thought. I'm sure that Aqua killed the Wingmaster. And he did it while he was in his room, no doubt about it. Time to enlighten us to how Mr. Dingling committed the murder, Mr. Wright. I'm going to present some evidence. So what did Mr. Dingling use to commit the crime of murdering against Miss Russell Berry?
Take that!
What's that? A picture? It is indeed. The problem is with the item that's shown in the picture. The bust? It's quite a large bust. Because it is life-size, it is also very, very heavy. Heavy? Heavy enough to guarantee a sudden death. Especially if it was dropped from a third-story window. Ah! See? This is how Aqua was able to kill the Wingmaster. With the force of gravity and Maximum Galactica's ample bust. Order, order! So you're saying the bust fell onto the Wingmaster? A rather simple crime. Even if you were stuck in a wheelchair, it would be incredibly easy to commit.
Objection!
How could you possibly wear a wheelchair with something so heavy? It's impossible!
Objection!
Well, Aqua is an acrobat. He should have more than enough upper body strength to carry something like the bust. Mr. Dingling, how do you respond to these charges? Well, Aqua's at a loss for words. He should be. He knows that I'm getting close to the truth. Well, Aqua, you can't run away from... And what would I say if I were you, Mr. Phoenix Wright? What? Your Honor, The physical health of the witness is material to this case. I demand that we get proper testimony from the witness himself. Testimony, you say? On Kara? She's just using this testimony as a ruse to stall for time.
Objection!
There's absolutely no need for such testimony.
Objection!
The defense has disposed of the murder. The prosecution has the right to respond. The defense's objection is overruled. Why can't he see things my way once in a while? Mr. Dingley, I'm sorry, but we need you to testify about your physical condition. If you have any doubts about your ability to testify, we can request expert testimony. The witness will have no problems. However, let's all be respectful towards him. Thank you. That woman will sink to any low to win a case. I suppose I could have lifted something the size of that bust. I have a strong upper body from working as an acrobat, and only my legs were injured. However, lifting the bust and looking out the window would have been impossible. There's no way I could have expended that kind of force on my lower body. It makes it impossible for me to know the location of the wingmaster's head. It would be unrealistic for me to drop the bust on him, don't you think? I have no doubts in regard to this witness's testimony. It was impossible for him to lift the bust and stick himself out far enough to look. Not to mention that he could not have known the location of the wingmaster's head. A single false step would have led to even more severe injuries. That's what I was thinking. What is your opinion on the matter, Mr. Wright? I'd still like to proceed with my cross-examination. He's simply stalling. It's shameful, really. I can't let her get to me. I got to focus.
Objection!
Aquo, you didn't really need to lean out the window, did you? What are you driving at, Mr. Wright? You already know ahead of time where the wingmaster's head was going to be. Quite precisely, I might add.
Objection!
Your silly hinting at things is pointless, Mr. Phoenix Wright. Enough stalling! How about you show us some evidence? But I did such a good job hinting. Yes, hurry up and explain things, Mr. Wright. Maybe you should take a look at this. The key point here is a wooden box. The same wooden box that the victim was found hunched over. You say. The question is, who placed the wooden box here? Who? When Ben and company saw the wingmaster, they didn't see him holding the box. Which means that this wooden box was already placed at the scene of the crime. I have to admit that your theory makes a lot of sense. The moment that the bust came falling down was exactly the same moment that the ringmaster lifted this wooden box. Which means that the answer to all those questions is now crystal clear. You mean if the bust were to fall upon the point marked out by the wooden box, there would be no way that it could miss the head of the victim. No! Order! This is unbelievable! Finally, some of those loose ends are starting to tie themselves up. I just gotta keep going. There's only one way to go from here. Forward! So the next question I have is, who placed that worm box at the scene? It was Mr. Dingling, of course. He connected it to a rope, and then all he had to do was lower it down. Ow! Allow me to whip some sense at you, Mr. Phoenix, Wright? Ow! 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 The ringmaster's head could have been anywhere when he lifted the box. That's why the box was so specifically made. Specially made? Indeed. It had the most particular feature. The box had a remarkable weight. Weight? According to the court record, it weighed 20 pounds. This is the stuff this worm box would have required. Oh, I see. Would have had to squat down to lift it up with their body, wouldn't you say? That's exactly what I was trying to point out. The box is also very large. The box has also carrying handles on either side, doesn't it? That is correct. To lift up the box, you'd have to squat down. Which means that no matter who you are, your head would be in approximately the same place. 4! Oh, that went hard. Does he even bother to listen to me anymore? I've heard what you've had to say. I must admit, I'm shocked at your imaginative skills. Did you do it? Did you place this wooden box in the plaza? Mr. White may have a vivid imagination, but I could never have done what he's proposing. What? Mr. White, do you recall the original case of Max's bust? Of course I remember. It was on top of the table in the cafeteria. Then what happened to it? I'd like you to remember one point of fact, Mr. White. I cannot possibly leave the lodging house by myself. That means... You understand what I mean, don't you? I may very well have been able to drop the bus from my room. However, how would I have gotten the bus from the cafeteria to my room? You see, Mr. Phoenix Wright? Explain that. Don't forget, you said there was no accomplice. Ah! That's exactly how the witness would have carried the bus in the cafeteria. Yep, we definitely have a problem here. This is no place to get perplexed. Let's get my wits about me and prove how things happen once and for all. Alright, Mr. White, into your explanation. How did the witness get the bus from the cafeteria back to his room?
Take that!
A monkey? Everyone knows money. He loves shiny objects of any size. Oh, like when he saw the ventriloquist swing. So, are you saying the witness had a monkey steal the bust? Of course he didn't order the monkey to steal it. The monkey saw it on his own, and then brought it back home. Home? Money lives in Acro's room. Acro's room?
Objection!
But the bust was bronze, wasn't it? Bronze isn't all that shiny.
Objection!
Maybe you should put the whip down sometimes and read the court record. My, those are some very nice cards he's holding. Yes, and they are made of platinum, which is very shiny. Ah! Aqua! Money is a strong monkey, right? It would be easy for him to bring the bus back to your room. If he wasn't able to handle that himself, I'd be on the market for a new roommate. Order! I said order! Miss Von Karma! Where is the bus in question at this moment? I don't know. We're searching for it as we speak. This is a rather strange turn of events. Let's say that the monkey had not stolen the bus. What would have happened then? Well, in that event, something else would have been used as the mortal weapon. Wait. Do you mean this bus was the mortal weapon purely by accident? It's possible. Maybe Aqua saw Money's mountain of stolen goods and thought to use one of them. Anyways, I think we're more than proven one critical fact. Namely, that it was entirely possible that Aqua was the murderer! Moron! Mr. Wright's argument was so circular, I'm still a bit dizzy. However, his argument does hold water. There's no denying that. Ow! Don't be so flamboozled, especially by this fraud of an attorney! Fraud? You've forgotten the absolute most important thing, Mr. Phoenix Wright! And what is that? You should know! You forgot that your fraud of a magical client was spotted at the scene of the crime! Ah! There's no reason to doubt the clown's testimony. That's true. How do you respond to that, Mr. Wright? Nick, don't let her beat you now. I won't. This is my chance to turn this trial around. When the murder occurred, there were two people at the scene of the crime. One was the victim, Mr. Barry, and the other was the murderer himself. Answer this and only this, Mr. Phoenix Wright. Who was the murderer the clown saw?
Take that!
He saw Max's Ow! Asked who was the other person most saw on the scene. The evidence has nothing to do with this question.
Objection!
Au contraire, mon frere! It does indeed have something to do with the question. Mo said that he saw Max's silhouette. He did not actually see the man himself! It wasn't a human being he saw! How is that possible? It's simple, Willie. What Mo actually saw that night was Max's bust!
Objection!
What are you talking about? Have you tried using your brain at all in this case? The silhouette he saw was wearing a cloak!
Objection!
There's no reason why you couldn't attach a cloak to the bust. That would be easy to hang one of the cards in the bust's hands. Idiot! Who in their right mind would put a cloak on a bust? It doesn't matter who put it on the bust. Just wait a minute now, Mr. Wright. Who put the cloak on the bust? That question is the almost important to this case, don't you agree? No, he caught me. So let's have it, Mr. Wright. Who put the cloak on the bust?
Take that!
For 4! You're saying it was the victim himself, Russell Berry? That's what I'm saying. The victim himself placed the cloak on the bust? Place the cloak isn't really the right way of putting it. What would be the right way of putting it, Mr. White? Explain yourself! Nick, do you really have a hand on all this? I'm fine, Maya. I'm finally putting all the pieces together. There's really only one picture I can paint anyway. Alright, so you want to know what really happened that night? Let's step back in time. Aqua used a rope to load the wooden box onto the scene. Then he attached the rope to the bus and dangled the bus out of his bedroom window directly above the wooden box. At the same time, the wingmaster told Max to wait in his room and went to the scene. Of course, at the time, the wingmaster was wearing Max's costume. Perhaps he didn't want anyone to recognize him that night. But just as he feared, he was spotted at the entrance of the lodging house. Right on the ventriloquist and his puppet, Ben and Twillo. When the ringmaster arrived at the scene, he bent over to lift a wooden box. And that's when Akko took his chance and released the rope. Now this is when the magic happens. At the very instant that the bus hit the victim, wait just a second there, Mr. Phoenix Wright! As much as you try, as much as you scheme, this just isn't true, it can't be! It's still a little early to be getting so upset, Miss Von Karma. The circus isn't over yet! What?! The impact of the bus on the victim threw the cloak up was snapped onto the bust! The impact also caused the servicer witness who to prompt them to take a look. That witness was, of course, Lawrence Mo Cause, the clown. When Mo looked out his window, the cloak had already snagged onto the bust. Now, having completed the crime, Akko naturally went about pulling up the motor weapon. Of course, he had no idea that Mo saw the bust being raised with the cloak dangling on it. Primarily because in his wheelchair he couldn't see out of his window. So he just kept pulling the bust up. And there's how the magical motor disappeared into the sky came to be. So you see, the only person who could have pulled this off is the one person who was able to drop the motor weapon from above the crime scene! Akko! It could only have been you! Akko's been playing mind games with all of us. He so has. But he has come to the end of his rope now. So? What now? You've graced us with a rather long-winded tale. But do you have any evidence to prove that your fairy tale is true? Evidence? In this court, only two things matter. The power of evidence and the power of my whip. Don't forget the power of my gavel as well. Mr. Wright, the prosecution brings up a good point. Can we see some evidence? Nick, they say they want evidence. I just explained how there can only be one possible model method. But there's still something unusual about Mo's eyewitness account. Unusual? Contradiction, actually. Okay then, use that and get out of this jam. That's enough talking amongst yourselves. Proceed, Mr. Wright. Present some evidence to the court that backs your claims. I want hard proof that you have unraveled the trick to this magic case.
Take that!
The problem is Max's three symbols. You know, the silk hat, the cloak, and the white roses. Those symbols were a problem numerous times during yesterday's proceedings. Yesterday, there were two contradictions in Mo's testimony. The silk hat was one, the white roses were the other. But the theory I just presented explains all of these contradictions. You fool! Do you ever shut up? Max's silk hat was found at the scene of the crime. However, remember what Mo said yesterday? He testified that the criminal he saw fleeing the scene was wearing a silk hat. There's only one explanation for that. The silk hat that Mo saw was actually the bust! Makes sense. If you look at it that way, then he did see the silk hat. Well, sort of.
Objection!
Fine, you got one. What about the other contradiction? The other contradiction? Remember what that ventriloquist said in court? He said that he witnessed white roses on Max's chest that night. But the clown's testimony doesn't match. The clown said that there were no white roses. I'd like to see you try and explain that one away. Can you do it, Nick? Of course. I can explain all of it. What was that? Please recall the incident when the cloak snagged onto the bus. If the cloak snagged onto the bus, what happened to the white roses? Do you get it yet? If the cloak got snagged onto the front of the bus, it means that the white roses would end up on the back of the bus. Ah! Which explains why Mo didn't see them. White roses were not visible because they were on the back side of the bus. Order, order! This is quite the shocking state of affairs. Mr. Wright's theory still sounds a bit absurd to me. However, let's just keep going down this road for a while and see where it leads. Let's do this, Nick. Then maybe Von Karma will finally throw in the towel. Well, so much for that theory. Mr. White, do you mind? What is it? You took the time to research our circus, didn't you? Well, yes, I did. Is there something making you think I didn't? If you did, then maybe you understand why I think you're off track. Why is that? Motive! This witness feels an incredibly debt of gratitude towards the Wingmaster. Anyone with any relation to the circus is well aware of this. Thus, there's absolutely no way someone like this would kill the Wingmaster. Your Honor, I'd like you to hear Akro's story. Learn about his relationship with the Wingmaster and his life up until now. What do we do? There's no doubt that Akro deeply respected the Wingmaster. Akro's motive. Seems that this case isn't over yet. Very well. However, I feel that this is a good place to take a break. I will listen to the rest of Mr. Dingling's testimony after recess. This court will now take a 10-minute recess.